Well, thank you very much. Like I said, we have juicy stories for you this time around. On to now the Uganda Premier League. Guys, I want to understand what exactly is happening at Kcca, because I mean, you saw the Kasasiro boys.
Yes, yes.
I mean, they're playing like Kasasiro. But I mean, I don't know what's happening at Kcca, Mark, because they've tried just about each and everything.
Everything, yeah.
Kcca used to be the one club which was famed for patience. They were famed for biding time, like they were planning for the long haul, you know. And they've done so many things right. And for a long time, they've been the model club of Ugandan football. But over the last couple of years, something has gone wrong at the Gogo.
Yeah, Mark, I speak with a few guys at Kcca and off the record, and of course I speak with so many of the fans who have endured the rough times, and even at a high level. So you get to understand, you get the picture, because when you look at Kcca on paper, it's still a very strong side. And they should be winning games. If you're putting out a team that has Brighton Okani and Nana Kwekiriza, who has been talking about, what Mark has talked about, and Said Mayanja and Naku, Philbert Benchan, these guys, Poloto is still there. If you're putting out that kind of team, you expect that you should be competing. But Kcca lie sixth on the table, behind Vipers, behind NEC, behind Bull, behind URA and Kcca. They're sixth up there. So and it's a bit of a disappointment. They might be ahead of Villa and Express, who are just a couple of places behind them. Who they made their arch rivals, but they should be the ones contending for the title. Not Bull last year, and not NEC this one. But so one of the things that has happened over the last 3-4 years is that problems have become administrative, and they start at the very, very top. There was a time when Jennifer Msifu was still in charge at Kcca, she used to pick the board. When Jennifer Msifu left, and first Chitaka and then Dorothy Chisaka took over, I don't think they were exercising the same control. So somehow that control was taken away from them by the Lord Mayor, Elias Lukwago. Now Elias Lukwago, of course, is a sports fan as well, and he's big, but he's also a politician. No,
Mark, let's be honest. Elias Lukwago is a politician.
A politician.
And a part-time sports fan. But
a politician first, So while the other ones were technical people sitting in the boardroom and making decisions of that nature, they were like at Jennifer's level and all. Inevitably, even if it's with good intention, what has happened with Elias Lukwago is that, for example, the board has changed so much that they've had like 3 boards in 3 years, or almost 4 in 4, where Martin Sekaja came in. Under him, they started changing people, and then he too eventually left. So the board has been changing. So what has happened?
I still don't understand, Mark, how Kcca dropped Agra Shaba.
That's exactly. That's why I was coming. Because of things like that.
Agra was such an asset for them.
Because of things like this, I think the Lord Mayor and the team started co-opting some politicians onto the board. And some of the football people were shoved out, were forced out. And if we're honest, people like Ashaba were forced out. So what happens when you bring some of these guys on board is either they're very new to the game, or they have little interest or time in this. And then you're leaving some technical decisions to them, including appointing of a coach, and sometimes all the way down perhaps to decisions on signings and everything. So if they're not technical enough, and they've been chopping and changing a lot, what happens eventually is that then the coach gets too much power. And Jennifer and the Agra Shabas and all, Mike Mutebi was given a lot of power. But he knew that he had oversight from people who actually understood the game. And we talk Ashaba quite a bit here. And so either there was consultation or caution sometimes in doing certain things. And then of course...
But there were results as well.
There were results,
The results were coming.
There were results.
Cases were competing, they're winning titles. So the league, the cup, they're doing well in Africa.
Exactly, So what happens is that you get power, then a lot of power into Abdallah Wabiru's hands, who is the coach now. And if that oversight is missing a bit, what happens is that things begin to go astray on the training pitch and in the dressing room. So, for example, I'll tell you this, Mark. Abdallah Mubiru, who is a former teammate of mine by our diary, and I love him very much, and I want him to be very successful as a coach. Some of the things, of course, are beyond his power.
Was a good midfielder.
Very good midfielder playing for the Ghana Cranes in the mid-90s. at both there and Kcca. But so what happens is that he gets all this power, and I'll give you an example. He has signed about 11 players, and only 3 of them are starters. You're talking Mugorofa, the goalkeeper, Gavin Chizito, who is also Crane's right back, and then maybe Sadatan.
Anak was just returning.
He was already there, but he was just returning. But let's say Brighton Okani. Brighton Okani, by the way, brilliant midfielder, but he's been blowing hot and cold for Kcca. Plays 1 good game and 4 bad ones, in and out, basically off and on. So the others that he has signed are not starters. If you've signed 11 players of their own, they should be starters, but they're not. And some of them do not inspire you as league contenders. I mean, I'll mention some names. Some even fans might not, people watching us might not have heard of them. Sharif Sengendo, Issa Mobiru. There's a guy called Emmanuel Anyama, striker. There's another one called Stephen Munguti. The squad is better for people like this that Abdallah has signed who are not playing. And and then Abdallah, of course, which again I've seen so many globally. It's not just his problem. I've seen it globally. When he came into there seemed to be an alienation of Mike Mutebi players. Mustafa Kiza leaves. Achai is, I think, at Express as well now. And then the guys who stayed started going onto the bench, their benchans and all. But now they've played themselves back into the team. But managers tend to want their own loyalty and tend to want clear dressing rooms of guys who paid allegiance to somebody else. You saw what Mourinho did with Van Gaal's players at Man United, the Bastian Schweinsteigers and the Daley Blinds, Martial and Luke Shaw, those guys. You get alienated. Here it happens a lot, especially in Ugandan Premier League, the way it is built now, is that coaches have their players and agents are locked in. And Abdallah Mobiru actually has a lot of agents, I think, who come around him, everybody trying to influence, get a player in there and all, we can explain some of the signings and why they're not starting. I saw it when I was on the board of Express about 4 or 5 years ago. That you change a coach and there's a clear out of the dressing room. George Samogere is leaving, with his players are leaving, and that's what happens. And then another manager is coming in who is at Kcca now.
Yes,
Waswa comes in with his own players and their own agents and their influence. So that happens a lot around the Uganda Premier League a lot. So it's happening there. So if you don't have oversight and people powering over you who actually know the game, you can get lost in the maze of it, even as a manager, as Abdallah Mobiru, however good you are, however strong you are. And Mike Mutebi is a very strong-willed person who is his own man. But people like Agre were there. And they knew the players. It's sort of, he would not bring a player who Agre had not heard of. You see what I mean? Some of the guys on the Kcca board now, I doubt they
because what that means
they would know what
that means now.
They would tell Stengendo from Mobiru.
Abdallah Mobiru is walking on eggshells.
Yes.
He's got to win the Kakungu Cup. If he doesn't win the Uganda Cup, he's out of the job.
Unfortunately, which is sad for me. I'd like for him to succeed.
I mean, also like,
I'm not a Kcca fan. I support a rival, but Abdallah Mobiru is my man.
Abdallah Mobiru is one of the better coaches, actually. In terms of tactically, he's one of the better coaches in the country, and I can't say that from any.
He did well at Police.
He did at Police.
Even at national team level.
He was a style. He has a certain identity about how he wants to play the game.
Yes.
And you can see what he's trying to do. Now, But
heads
have to roll.
Yeah, that's a pressure job.
This is Kcca, it's a pressure job. The club has invested a lot of money. They have so many things going for them. They've got sponsorships. They are erecting new tires on the stadium. They need results.
They've got they've got sponsorship. He's talking about Chint. They've got a lot of media hype. They've got they're building a new stadium.
They're building a new stadium. I mean, at the end of the day,
it's tough. Filippo Mondi is going up. It continues to go up.
They've got a TV channel. So at the end of the day, something must give. And if Kcca should actually be either where Vipers is or NEC, they think it's their divine right to be there. I do know for a fact that when AC Villa won the league title last year at Lugogo, some people, are very distraught. They were very devastated because Kcca had come close to AC Villa. It was 16th and 13th.
Yes.
So Villa edged closer and got a 17th. And you can be certain that Kcca today is way further from the 14th. As far as I think.
As it has been in 10 years, in a decade of football.
So for Tablik, as is known in football circles, Abdallah Mobiru to survive, they've got to win the Uganda Cup. Without it,
Yeah.
because they're not going to win the league. I mean, the 4-0 annihilation away to Kcca was a new low. I've scratched my head deep to remember the last time Kcca lost a league game 4-0, and I can't remember. So
it was good stuff, though. I mean,
yeah.
the goals were beautiful, as we've seen the highlights. And we watched the match actually live.
Oh, yes.
Patrick Kadu, that goal and 2 assists.
Oh, yes.
And then Jude Semugabi,
yeah.
goal himself. Nahebwa, is it called Nahebwa? The guy who scored the header for the 4th.
Yeah, and there are some brilliant players also from Titus Sematim. But I think the fact of the matter is
Living Carbon.
Living Carbon, the former Anduparaka.
Yeah, Living Carbon. Yeah. Created a goal, was a menace basically on the right. Created a goal, scored 1.
I think.
Yeah.
Wow, guys.
Clearly.
This is hot.
I mean, wait and see, but something must give at Lugogo. Clearly. I hope not.
No,
Tablik is my friend.
I'd have loved for them to have more patience to get the administrative part of the club in order, because I think it will have an effect on how the football club itself is run and how the team plays on the pitch. But I think there's a lack of oversight right now that they will not admit to. But I think it's not of the standards when we were all enthusiastic about going to watch Kcca and Mike Mutebi when the Agra Shabas were in charge.
Because
it's definitely a
Kcca,
total difference.
listen, I don't support Kcca, but I did so many things right.
Yeah.
And I could only watch one with envy. And I was like, even the guys at FIFA were like, we need to have a club which all the other clubs can aspire to emulate. And Kcca was the club.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so many things have gone haywire, and we really don't know what the future holds for Kcca. We don't know.
Wow, guys, that was the hottest on Uganda Premier League, and we are bringing you more tea